VolQuest.com. Brent, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. Hope you're doing well this morning.
Good, Hubs. How you living, man?
Man, I'm living. I'm always living, right? That's the only way to be.
The real question.
I get to go to Starkville and hang out with you for the weekend. How could life be any better for me, Ramon?
See, Lucas, this is what he does, Lucas. This is exactly what he does. He just reels you in, man, and then the next thing you know, he kicks you.
So what's the travel plans kind of all over the place? I know Moan's hitching a ride as soon as we get off the air here, going to make his way back downtown. When is Wheels Up for the rest of the Vol Network crew, Brent?
Well, I mean, we come from parts unknown, but the Knoxville crew Wheels Up will be around, I guess, 2:30, 3 o'clock, something like that today. So it'll be fun. This is a unique place in college football, not just because of the cowbells, but stadium's got a little bit of uniqueness to it. And obviously, when State's playing well, that place can be a harder place to play, and it'll be a test for Tennessee. This team has played really well, but they haven't been in a road environment. So how they handle all of that tomorrow will certainly be interesting. I do think it's a benefit that Tennessee's playing a day game down there instead of a night game. Night games are different. I mean, they just are. And because of Alabama and Georgia, TV did not want to put Tennessee on opposite of Alabama and Georgia. That's why this game ended up a day game, much to the dismay of Mississippi State, who certainly wanted it to be a night game.
It's kind of occurring to me just now. Obviously, Jeff Lebby, having worked for Josh Heupel at UCF as the offensive coordinator, but the thought just kind of popped into my head, Brent. Is this the first time Heupel has coached opposite a head coach that worked for him at some point in his head coaching career?
Well, he had Lebby last year in Knoxville in year one when Mississippi State came to town, and they were 2-10 and 0-8. So it's that one for sure has happened. So nothing else at this point. I mean, it's to my understanding, and I haven't researched everything, but with Josh Heupel as a head coach, you've got Alex Golesh, who's the head coach at South Florida, Lebby, who was with obviously Heupel at Central Florida for a couple of years, is at Mississippi State. I'm not sure there's anybody else off of that staff at this point that's a head coach.
Brent Hubbs of VolQuest with us on the Zone.
Brent, going down to this game, man, it's sold out. They're doing a whiteout also. The Vols are in all oranges from all the information that I've got, man. How do you see this environment being for the Vols? I know the cowbells is a part of it. I've been begging Vols fans to also bring cowbells with them, too. You might as well fight fire with this one, Hubs. But how is this environment going to be for a lot of guys that are just getting their first real taste of road SEC matchups for the new guys?
Well, I mean, I think you have to be aware of it, but I think you have to be careful not to make too much of it as well. Now, you can't neglect it and act like it's no big deal. I mean, the Tennessee's practice with noise and cowbells and all that stuff all week long. So what's the best way to combat that? Do what you've done the last 2 weeks. Really do what you've done all year. That's get out of the gates fast. Start fast. Tennessee's got 6 touchdowns on their last 7 possessions in the first quarter. Now, is that realistic? I don't know, but that's the type of efficiency everybody obviously is looking at or looking for. Mississippi State has been good in the first quarter. They've outscored their opponents 55-7. Both of these coaches, because of where they're from, script the start of the game. They do a pretty hardcore script of plays, and it's worked for both teams. Tennessee's scored on their opening possession in all 4 games this year, a field goal against Syracuse, 3 touchdowns after that. Mississippi State has scored a touchdown on each of their opening possession this year to start the season at 4 games. So I think the start's important. I think, sort of getting settled in and play the game. And you got to be mature. I mean, you look at the Arizona State game, Ramon. Arizona State was down 17-0 in Starkville. And they fought their way back. And so I think the start's important. You want to settle it down there. But the other thing you can't do early is you can't panic. If something doesn't go your way early, you got to be able to manage adversity. You're hoping Joey Aguilar can do that. But the reality is this offense really hasn't dealt with much adversity this year. When you go back and look at the season as a whole, there's not been much for them to be really crushed about. I mean, missed opportunity at the end of the Georgia game, a couple things there. But, I mean, by and large, when you look at the 4 games they've played, there's not been a lot of really bad moments for this offense. So how do they handle things if adversity strikes early in this football game on Saturday?
No doubt about it. Well, they've been dealing with some injury adversity, man. What are they looking like health-wise? I've seen Jackson Moy should be okay. And the weekly David Sanders Jr. report, man. How are they looking going into this one?
Well, Moy's going to play. He's going to be available. How many snaps he plays, we'll see. I mean, he's listed as probable, but I mean, unless he wakes up this morning and something's wrong, he's going to be able to go. They're still without Hobbs, without David Hobbs, and Jermod McCoy and Ricky Gibson on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, we'll see what happens with Ethan Davis. He was added to the injury report last night. He's dealing with a shoulder. Kind of a similar thing to David Sanders, trying to get his strength levels back. So we'll see what happens with that one. Remember, he didn't play last week. They warmed him up, and then they held him for precaution. So we'll see what happens with him. He's been limited this week on the practice field. We expect David Sanders will travel in this game. Now, remember, you can only travel 70, so you're not taking a lot of guys to stand around and watch. You're taking people who could be available to play. He's listed as questionable. He's done the most this week that he's done since the injury on the Wednesday before Syracuse. Does that mean he plays? I don't know. We'll find out, but I do expect him to travel. I do expect him to dress for this game based on everything from yesterday. Now, remember this about David. He gets tested every day for strength levels. So if he has any kind of regression today, then that could change it. But as of this morning, I think the plan would be for him to travel and for him to dress for the first time.
Brent, when you talk about injuries with this team, I feel like whatever it is, I feel like the way it's been trending this year, add a week or two to it. And that seems with almost anything. I felt in the summertime we saw Jermod McCoy on the field and thought he was going to practice. I thought there was video of him being out there, being incorporated. But they seem to be taking a slower approach to guys' health and safety. Is that something that we can speak on when we speak about these guys and their availability throughout the duration of the season? Because I thought he was close. Jermod was anyway, but it seems to be a little bit further than we guessed.
Well, I mean, I think when you see the video of him out there in individual periods, the biggest thing is you think, okay, give him a month and he should be back, or give him a few weeks and he should be back. That's a tough injury to come back from. He's still not been incorporated into team periods. He's doing everything he can to get back. I don't know that it's a situation where, trainers are holding him back, like, okay, you're not there. I don't think it's a case where the people around him are holding him back. I just don't think he's got everything he needs to be back to play right now. Tennessee does have a new trainer, and, I don't know philosophy there versus previous previous trainers' philosophies or anything like that. I mean, I don't think there's anything of any significance that's different, but there's a couple of unique injuries, and that, I think that's the thing that we've seen that's kind of perplexing is, you see like Ethan Davis, he comes off the field, looks like he's in a lot of pain, and you think, okay, that looks like a pretty serious injury, and then he's back on the field of possession later, so you think, okay, he's okay. Then they hold him last week, and then you're not sure if he's going to be available this week. It's kind of weird. The David Sanders deal is certainly a unique injury, as Josh Heupel described it. And, Ricky Gibson, hurts a pectoral muscle on a tackle, but doesn't really come off the field in great pain. It just is a kind of a freak injury. So they've certainly had the unusual injury bug this year that's made it challenging to get some guys back on the field. But hopefully by the time they get through this one, if they have a healthy day on Saturday and the open date, you hope that they're pretty healthy with the exception of Ricky Gibson. We'll see where McCoy is next week as they get ready, or in 2 weeks as they get ready for Arkansas. They've just had for a team that's not been, they were pretty healthy all year last year. Yeah. And with the exception of Keenan Peedley, they stayed pretty healthy. This team's just been bitten hard by the injury bug to start the year. It's been really unfortunate because it's changed a lot about the kind of the landscape of this team, particularly on defense. When you're talking about, they essentially played without 4 starters against Georgia on defense.
Yeah, and it really started in the early stages of the offseason, right? It's just carried into the early part of the regular season. Brent Hubbs with us of VolQuest at Brent_Hubbs on Twitter. To your point, Brent, on Mississippi State's win over Arizona State, obviously Levy's signature win so far in his short time in Starkville. Looking at the lack of balance from both of these teams is so fascinating in this game. How Arizona State struggled putting the ball in the air with Sam Leavitt, 82 pass yards in that game, but was able to rush for 251 versus Mississippi State, who threw for 345 and ran for 66. Like, it almost defies logic the way they were able to find so much success in one phase on offense and a lack thereof in the other. But to you, is there an advantage there for Tennessee when you look at Arizona State running for over 250 yards when everybody in the building knew they were going to? And quite honestly, it's how they got back into the game after that 17-point hole.
Yeah, I mean they took the air out of the ball. That's what they did. They just kept it away from Mississippi State and just kind of ate the clock up and just kind of grinded it on Mississippi State. I'm going to be interesting to watch tonight. Common opponents are kind of intriguing to me. So Arizona State gets TCU tonight, and I'm curious to see what Arizona State does offensively tonight. If they run it well tonight, then you say, oh, they're a really good running team. If they were to struggle running tonight, then you would go, boy, Mississippi State has a hard time stopping the run. So, that one's kind of intriguing to me tonight. But the shocking thing of that Arizona State game was their inability to pass the football. And why was that the case? I don't have a good answer for that. Tennessee's got to be able to throw it, no question, Saturday if they're going to beat Mississippi State. I don't know that Tennessee lines up and just runs it down their throat the entire game. What will be really interesting is we talk about Levy versus Heupel offensively. Which defensive coordinator has a better feel and plan for attacking this style of offense and dealing with this style of offense? Both of them deal with it every day on the practice field. But Mississippi State, I mean, they got 5 passes of over 50 yards this year. So does Tennessee. Tennessee has 7 rushes of over 20 yards this year. So does Mississippi State. I mentioned the scoring to start the game. Both teams have the same to start the second half, 3 touchdowns and a punt. They're just eerily similar when you look at it. Both teams are pretty heavily penalized. Mm-hmm. So the question is, and both teams are going to base their run game on the box count. Light box, we're going to run it. Heavy box, we're going to try to throw it over your head. So how does Tim Banks, Tennessee's defensive coordinator, manage something he sees every day on the practice field in 11-on-11 settings? Does that give him a great advantage this week? Conversely, does it give Mississippi State's defensive coordinator a real advantage because he sees it every day on the practice field? I think the familiarity on defense for the defensive coordinators make this a pretty interesting chess match as much as it does the offensive stuff.
With that being said, Mississippi State has some speed, man. They got guys that can hit the edge. Of course, the sins of last week will follow you for 3-4 weeks at a time, man. And one of those guys is Brennan Thompson, who's clocked at over 23 miles per hour, being able to run the ball. You got guys like Ty Redmond and Colton Hood. Also, if they're allowed to be aggressive, that's awesome. But how do you see them attacking them outside on the perimeter also, Hubs?
Well, I'll be curious to see if they travel Colton Hood, meaning that he goes from right to left in the game. Do they feel like there's a wide receiver matchup that they have to have Colton Hood on the entire game, or are they going to leave him on one side, leave Redmond on one side? Traditionally, that's what they've done is they've left their corners on one side. But the last couple of years, they've kind of got into flipping their corners a little bit. Now, no huddle, tempo, does that make it hard to flip the corners? Yeah, it makes it really hard. So we'll see how they do that. Do they feel like they need to get Hood, who's projected as a first-round pick by some people right now? Do they feel like they need to get him matched up specifically against somebody like they did a year ago with Ryan Williams and Jermod McCoy in the Alabama game? Do they feel the need to do that? And if not, then Redmond's going to have to play well, and they're going to have to play well in man coverage. And I think they've been better in man coverage than zone coverage, Ramon. But they're going to have that secondary is going to have to play well, and then they need help. They need help up front. Joshua Joseph's got to get to the quarterback. Jackson Moy, when he's in there, is going to have to push the pocket. They're going to have to get more from an inside pass rush as well. So they're going to have to be good up front to generate some pressure to try to get it. Not let him run the deep over route. Don't give him time to run that deep over route. Some of the stuff like that. So it all goes, hand in hand. But to me, it starts with how they're going to play their corners in this matchup against the Mississippi State receivers.
Hey, Hubs, real quick, man, on a lighter note, man, how's Max Gilbert's foot? As UAB suspended their safety, Sarod Bryant, for stomping it, man. Nobody knew what happened until you saw the replay. I don't know if I've ever seen a foot stomping like this, Hub.
I had a Tennessee administrator come to me to start the second half on the sideline. And he goes, have you ever seen anything like that? And I said, man, there's been guys tap the top of somebody's head when they go by before. He goes, no, what are you talking about? I said, well, what are you talking about? He's like, he stomped on his foot. I'm like, what? And he pulled up his phone. He's like, what's this on social media? And sure enough, I didn't even notice it. It's one of those plays. Sometimes the extra point, unfortunately, you just kind of ignore it. You're just like, yeah, okay, it's the extra point, whatever. And I looked up, and Jackson Ross looks like Nigel from The Replacements in the bar scene. Let's play football. And
cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
Yeah, he's going nuts on people. And I'm like, dude, like, what are we doing here? Then I saw the replay. I'm like, yeah, I might have gone nuts on my guy too. I've never seen anything like UAB has suspended that kid this week, but. And Trent Dilfer immediately at the end of the game went to Josh Heupel and said, hey, I'm sorry. I didn't realize what had happened. That's been taken care of. It'll never happen again. Making sure Max Gilbert was okay. But it was just one of those. Everybody from both sides were like, dude, like, was that a dare? Like, where did you come up with that idea from? Hey, let's stomp on the kid's foot. Like, everybody was kind of looking at him like, yeah, that's the best you got? Like, yeah, that's what you come up with? I don't get it. So I have no idea what caused that.
Closest thing I've seen is somebody rake their cleats over somebody's foot to untie their shoestrings.
Well, now, here's my thing. I've seen and heard of stories in the pile of stuff that's happened down there that's just wrong and probably too graphic for radio this morning, so we won't get into some of those things that happen when stuff gets piled up on PATs or field goals or goal line plays or whatever. But out in the open with a kicker, like you don't even get credit for your boys for doing something like that. You know what I'm saying? You're like, your teammates are like, dude, really? Like, it was 21-0. Like, that's what you got? Like, what are you doing here? It makes no sense. But many things in life don't make much sense to me.
I got it. I know we're up against it. I got it. He bet on Georgia, Tennessee the week before. That's what it was.
Taking out some frustration.
He's taking out some frustration. He bet on the game, Hubs. That's all I got for you. He bet on the game.
I've never seen anything like it, that's for sure.
Hey, silver linings. Tennessee's had injury issues all year. The kicker got stomped on, and he's good to go. Didn't pop up in the availability report. So we'll see. We'll see how Max Gilbert looks in Starkville tomorrow. Brent Hubs, appreciate the time. Yes. Talk to you next Friday.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Hubs. See you later.
Brent Hubs, brought to you by Ascend Federal Credit Union, your financial partner for every stage of life. If you are a Vols fan and you are not subscribed to VolQuest.com, go change that right now for all the news and notes throughout the course of this season. Injury updates, the best in the business.